So, here's where I am so far. Got the carburetor off. It definitely has spark because I primed it a little bit and it would just flash right back through the intake, so I know something's happening with the spark. I mean, there could still be problems there, but that's for later. Without priming it, it wouldn't do anything. So I'm suspecting a fuel issue. So took the carburetor off. Very simple little thing, not much to it at all. Give it the usual routine, carburetor cleaner, air compressor through the stuff, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this thing, but this is sort of like a newer version of what I've seen on the bottom of older carburetors, and I don't know if you'll see that, but it is working. That's like a little solenoid there, and it's opening up when you give it power, when you turn the key on, so I imagine that's working too. So all I can do at this point is put the carburetor back together and see what the heck happens. Yeah, also I wanted to show that we are indeed getting plenty of fuel. If you look right there, that's some clamps, and that's the fuel line. You'll see it. So the fuel pump is working. So if it's not carb issues, I'll have to look deeper. I mean, that flashing through the intake, I mean, it might just be a bunch of friggin' water in the fuel. I don't know. I'll have to see. Alright, so now we got something running. Oh, maybe it's doing it now. Revving like hell. Boy, that's weird. Cut back on the throttle just a bit. He goes to die. We got something jammed up here in the throttle. Jesus mighty. Okay, well, I got it running, but I think it, well, that wasn't the main problem. I can see what he's talking about now. It's, boy almighty. I guess I'm going to have to take a look at that choke and the governor. So, we'll see then. Alright, I'm figuring this out a little bit. You shove right there, there's a choke symbol. So you shove that all the way up and your choke closes. I don't know if you can see that too good or not, but so the choke's opening. So this thing I'm shoving on here is the actuator for the throttle. That's our governor. And oh, that shaft, if you look at that, What the heck? There's supposed to be a bolt going right in here. That's missing. Okay, that shaft does move. But it sure as heck ain't moving with the governor shaft, or the governor arm, whatever the heck you want to call it, lever. So, that's another interesting point for investigation. Looks like it's pretty much self-governed, but well, yeah, it's an anarchist. But we'll see later as I dig a little deeper. Okay, here's a carburetor laid bare. Now we can see that the choke is working. The governor is sort of binding on something. You can see it kind of snaps over. It doesn't really move smoothly like it should. I mean, as you can see, there's nothing holding it on. It's just hanging on the studs right now. And right here, these two ears, bosses on the side of the air filter housing, mount, whatever, they sort of slide onto those studs like so and act as spacers, so you'll be able to tighten the nuts up. Well, what I want to do is come up with some spacers that'll just slide right onto there, so I can tighten that down and watch what this thing's doing without the air filter on there. But I am sure as shit that there's supposed to be a bolt on there, because that shaft is just turning right around in there, and that's what regulates your throttle. That's your governor right there, pretty much. And that has to be pinched right here. This is a pinch joint, and there's a bolt that runs through there and squashes that together, so that when this shaft moves, it'll also move this governor. And that, for some reason, is missing. So I imagine this throttle's just sort of flopping around doing whatever the hell it wants. Now, my only problem is I'm not sure where this shaft is supposed to sit. So I think that's going to be a little trial and error right there, unless I can look that up. But we found a definite problem, so that's a good thing. So we'll keep on it. So, well, as you can tell, I live in kind of not the most beautiful conditions. I mean, I like it. I got to get that pile of wood burned up. But anyhow, living in a junk heap can sometimes have its benefits. This old stump grinder belongs to a friend of mine. The engine is completely shot. Might be able to see the cracks in the block down there. This is a Kohler twin cylinder, 20 horse. And right there is the governor for this thing. See that does not move past a certain point. That's because that shaft is stopping it from moving too far. And right here, this is the bolt that we're after. So I'm going to get that off, stick it on that tractor, because that's a Kohler as well. But I imagine any old bolt would have worked, but this saves a lot of looking around through the buckets. So hopefully that'll be a good step toward getting this thing going properly. Alright, and now I got the bolt off, and assume this was our tractor engine we're working on. Now this governor lever can just go wherever the hell it wants. So I'm imagining that was allowing that throttle plate to just stay wide the hell open and do whatever the hell it wanted to do. So I'll get that bolt in there, and I'll see if I can look up a little information on how to actually set that thing. And we'll take it from there. Alright, I got my carburetor. I got some nuts that just slid over these studs sticking out here, so I can tighten that up. Oh, get these clamps on there. Sometimes I love these clamps. Most of the time I do, but sometimes I just hate them. Sometimes there's just no good way to get at them. Kind of a love-hate thing. But anyhow, I got this bolt stuck in the governor lever there, and the procedure is you shove this all the way forward with this bolt loose, of course. Shove it all the way forward and hold it there, and then you take this shaft, there's sort of a little thing on the end there, you can grip it with pliers, and you turn that all the way forward too, and you tighten that nut up. But now, see, I'm only grabbing that shaft, but now that sucker can turn. The shaft can work the governor. So that should hopefully be that. Okay. That's still racing pretty heavy. I'm not sure what the heck happened here. Let me see. I think it's got a burn intake valve or something. Oh boy. Okay, so what we have here, I believe, is failure to communicate. Watch this. That off. Alright. There is nothing pulling that governor arm back. So I'm figuring when this bolt came out, or was removed, whatever, it overspeeded initially. And there's a centrifugal system in there that regulates this little shaft right here, which in turn regulates your whole throttle and everything. And I'm thinking when it initially overspeeded, that thing came apart. Because with this thing just going wide open like that, it's probably hitting $5 or $6 grand, and you don't go over 3,600. What I could do for the guy, I mean, yeah, I'll change the engine for him, but I don't want to get into tearing this engine down. It's just not something I like to do very much with newer small engines. I'm pretty much carburetor, ignition system, stuff like that. I'll do that. But as far as tearing it down, that's just not for me. If he wants to get a good used engine or even a new one, I'll put it on for him. Or I could just rig this thing so that you are directly responsible for your throttle. Which, you know, when he gets a load, he's going to have to throttle it up. When the load comes down, he's going to have to throttle it down, just like a car. That's about all I can do with that until, well, I'm not even going to rig the throttle like that until I hear from the guy again, because I don't want to go doing work that he didn't want done, because maybe at this point he'll just be like, oh, screw it, I'll just get another tractor. Which, if he decides that, good for him, but I think it could still be perfectly serviceable with a manual throttle. You just have to know what you're doing a little bit. So I guess I'll just stick that air cleaner box back on there, which the top of that thing was missing. I don't know where the hell that was, but somebody was definitely rooting around on this thing. The signs are everywhere. I mean, the duct tape, that missing air box. Somebody was messing with it, and somebody didn't do a good job. So, if you're going to mess with stuff, make sure you know what the heck you're doing.